Less than 48 hours after news of Osama bin Laden's death, Republicans, including House Homeland Security Committee Chair Peter King, are trying to suggest that the so-called enhanced interrogation techniques such as waterboarding demonstrated here played a key role in tracking down bin Laden.
I'm saying the road to bin Laden began with waterboarding. Those who put this moral cloak around themselves by saying they're against waterboarding, I'm saying the real moral decision to make is you're going to allow someone to die.
The practice of waterboarding ended 7 years ago. All of the enhanced interrogation techniques were abandoned by the CIA 5 years ago. The most famous target, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, was waterboarded 183 times, and yet when it came to getting any usable intelligence, the Associated Press reports Mohammed did not discuss bin Laden's courier while being subjected to the simulated drowning technique known as waterboarding. Former officials said he acknowledged knowing him many months later under standard interrogation. Joining me now, Mark Fallon, a former interrogator and special agent in charge of the Criminal Investigation Task Force at Guantanamo Bay. Thanks for joining me tonight, Mark.
You're very welcome.
You have extensive experience in exactly the kinds of interrogations that Peter King is talking about at Guantanamo Bay. I want you to listen to something that Leon Panetta said to Brian Williams about this tonight.
Are you denying that waterboarding was, in part, among the tactics used to extract the intelligence that led to this successful mission?
No, I think some of the detainees clearly were, they used these enhanced interrogation techniques against some of these detainees.
So, finer point, one final time, enhanced interrogation techniques, which has always been kind of a handy euphemism in these post-9/11 years, that includes waterboarding.
That's correct.
What I thought I heard there was Director Panetta saying that some of the people who gave us some of the information that started the trail to Osama bin Laden were waterboarded. The White House is already disputing that interpretation of what he said, and my first guest tonight disputed that from the White House. What is your interpretation of what you just heard?
Well, Director Panetta appears to be saying the folks were waterboarded, but I'm still trying to see if he's connected the timing of the waterboarding to the acquisition of the intelligence or information.
Exactly.
There appears to be a little bit of dispute.
It's possible that one of these people was waterboarded. It is also possible that they gave us information either before or after, having nothing to do with the waterboarding or any of that kind of activity.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we look at the facts as we know them of the case right now, where Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was the mentor, this was a protege of him, had that information come out back when he was waterboarded, wouldn't we have captured the courier sooner?
Yeah, so what do you make of Peter King saying, the road to Osama bin Laden begins with waterboarding? Where would he get the kind of confidence that would allow him to say that?
I have no idea. I was privy to the information from Khalid Sheikh Mohammed at the time. I've investigated al-Qaeda for a number of years, and I'm not aware of any substantive information or intelligence that was a derivative product directly from waterboarding.
Now, FBI agents who knew the most about these people before 9/11 refused to participate in anything involving waterboarding, and at a certain point, that left them out of the process, and it left the less experienced interrogators who were less informed than the FBI agents in the process. Isn't that the way it?
Not necessarily in that sequence. There were teams of interrogators down at Guantanamo Bay. There was a Criminal Investigation Task Force, which I was a deputy commander and special agent in charge of federal agents. The FBI was there, and the agents worked very closely together. On the other side were military intelligence interrogators with the JTF Gitmo. So the interrogators from the federal agencies, who were deeply experienced in counterterrorism matters, were still in there doing interrogations, just refused to participate or condone or be involved in any manner with anything that was tantamount to what we believe to be torture and illegal.
What would you say to people who are trying to say tonight, the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden proves that torture works?
Well, I think some people are trying to rewrite history here. I've seen no information whatsoever that the infliction of pain equates to the elicitation of accurate information, number one. And two, I think it's a terrible shame to diminish the incredible work that went on within the intelligence community with analysts and case officers that led to bin Laden's capture. So let's not diminish that accomplishment, because that's a significant event in our history. And to try to cheapen it by saying that some event in waterboarding years ago led to this, I think is just a disservice to our service members.
Mark Fallon, a former interrogator at Guantanamo Bay. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Mark.
My pleasure.